Hey, I'm Tom, and this is TRB Collectibles, where I go to yard sales, estate sales, and thrift stores. I buy items for a low price and then resell it on eBay for a decent profit. You read that right. After selling hundreds and hundreds of items, you'd think by now I would have sold a Funko Pop. But I recently picked one up and I sold it on eBay. I'm gonna let you know all about it at the end of this video, so be sure to stay to the end to see what I bought it for, what I sold it for, and how I packed it. The first item that I wanted to talk about today falls in line with my cross-stitch ideas and patterns. What it actually is was a stuffed animal pattern where you lay out this pattern material. Then you cut your fabric along said pattern and you get the right sizes for the stuffed animal that you want to create. This happened to be a pack for a couple different animals. I had picked up this item specifically at a yard sale that I had recently gone to, and it was a woman just sitting in her driveway. It was full of kids' toys and craft supplies. That was a hobby of hers, and her grandchildren had all the toys that they didn't want to play with anymore. So recently I've been going more through craft items because they're highly sought after, especially a lot of retired ones. So I had gone through a lot of the different patterns, and I found this one, went ahead and I scanned it, knew that I wanted to pick it up. I asked her how much she was looking per pattern, and she said 25 cents. I said, sure, no problem. I paid the 25 cents she asked for. Went ahead and I listed it on eBay, and I just recently sold it for $19.99, plus buyer paid shipping for $4. So that flip, at least in my mind, was a really great pickup. Never pass up an opportunity to look up patterns, cross-stitch. There is value in it. It's not extreme value, but taking 25 cents into $20, hey, I'll take it any day of the week. The next item that I wanted to talk about was an item that is worth it and not worth it sometimes. I sold a Samsung Blu-ray player that I bought for $4.82. I then went ahead and I sold it for $25, and the buyer paid around $15 for shipping. The reason I say this, if you look at VHS players and VHS DVD combo players, those are highly sought after items because they're more rare. You can't go out into a store and buy a brand new one. If you want to watch old films or you want to watch old VHS tapes that are not around anymore, that's why they have gained in value, especially around Christmas time when you want to watch old home movies. With Blu-ray players, they're widely abundant still. They're out in the stores. You can buy brand new ones with all these new features. And a lot of Blu-ray players don't go for a lot of money. Did I make a huge amount of money on this flip? Not necessarily. But did I make money? I did. But it's a learning experience. I did take 5 into 25, so I can't complain. The one thing that benefited me with this Blu-ray player was that it also had web capabilities, so you could also get Netflix and other streaming services. So it had that added bundle. If it was just a regular old Blu-ray player, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. So always be on the lookout for that, as well as recorders as well, because you never know what you could actually profit on, and never take the time, always take the time to look up an item. Never really pass it by if you're curious about it. The next item I wanted to talk about is this Microsoft keyboard. This Microsoft keyboard, I went ahead and I picked it up for $1.06. It was practically brand new in the box. It looked like no one used it. I went ahead and I popped in some batteries. I connected it to my computer. It worked just fine. All the keys worked. I went ahead and I listed it at so, and I wound up making $28 off of a $1.06 purchase. I was very pleased with it. It sold rather quickly. I went ahead and used a 1092 box from USPS, got it right out the door, and the buyer was happy, and they paid $11.10 for shipping on top of what they paid. With the keyboard, it was a great flip. I was glad that it came with the box. That added more to the value, and somebody got a great keyboard at the end of the day. The next item that I wanted to talk about was the Spectrum DXE controller. You have seen this item on my channel before. You know what? Let me go ahead and take you back. You ready? Here we go. And then I found the same brand, so I thought, hey, there might be value in this brand. And this looked like it was a newer version of the remote that I had. I went ahead and I tested all the little components and parts and made sure that they all functioned and worked. Now this one did not have batteries in it, so I will put batteries in it to test it. They wanted $50 for this one as well. So what we would do is I would bring these to the front at 75% off. She goes, what are these? I go, they're remotes to the model airplanes. And she goes, you want those? And I go, this estate sale company really doesn't know what I'm really doing here. I would like to buy everything in my basket, and they don't want me to have the medical things, and they're confused why I'm buying these. Maybe they're just newer in the estate sale and they don't realize there might be resellers, but I was like, yeah, sure, I'd like to buy these. She goes, okay, they're $50 each. What about $25 for both? Sure, $25 for both, no problem. I should be able to get anywhere between $50 to $80 for this one. Welcome back. So that sale really profited me. The one with all the model airplanes that I was showing you. We talked a little bit about a couple weeks ago how I turned $5 into $150 off of that Boston Scientific the battery. Well, this was a part of that buy. I went ahead and I purchased this remote control for a model airplane for $12.50. And I went ahead and I flipped it on eBay for $80 plus $12.80 for that the buyer did pay for the shipping. I couldn't complain with that flip. I couldn't complain with the Boston Scientific flip. It was overall a great estate sale at the end of the day. I've made more than my fair share of money that I invested in that sale, and somebody's getting a great product that I know I shipped out properly and described thoroughly. I was very pleased with finding these remote controls and chargers and Boston Scientific batteries. I never pass it up an opportunity to look at small electronics, even if it's in a category that you don't necessarily know. Always take the time to look it up, because it could just be profitable and you now know for the next sale, and you could pick up something that somebody else doesn't want to take the time to do so. Just to let you know. So I was very pleased that I could take $12.50 and turn it into $80 plus $12.80 in shipping. Technically, they paid more in shipping than I paid for the actual controller, which is wild. The next item, which is really fun and a category that you should never pass up, and you're looking at me like I probably have 3 heads, where I've said it time and time again, don't pass up looking up an opportunity on an item. Don't do it! I sold a VHS horror about an ice cream man. Didn't watch it, picked it up at the store, went ahead and I scanned the comps, and it was pulling comps for a good amount of money. I went ahead and I bought this VHS tape for $2.13, and I went ahead and I sold it for $35. Yes, you heard that right. I sold a VHS tape used for $35. Here's the reason. VHS tapes go for a lot of money. In the reselling community, it is a joke if you pick up, let's say, a Disney Diamond Edition VHS tape. If you look at today, you'll have Disney Plus, where people can find all of those movies on all of those tapes. So the collector is really looking for the tape itself. But for those families that are looking for those rare, in the vault kind of movies that you can't get anymore, and it's not only with Disney, but it's with other companies as well, where they have not upgraded that movie from VHS or its former format up to DVD. And that's what keeps its value. With Disney Plus, it kind of erased all that VHS value. But with other companies like this one, a lot of horror or independent horror genre films were made with low budget, independent film houses that could get it on a VHS, but when it came time to converting to DVD, they didn't exist anymore. But the tape still did, and those people that watched it a long, long time ago still want to watch it. And that is why it was worth $35. Not only do people collect horror VHS, do they collect genres, but also if the media has not been formatted to the new, whether it be streaming or DVD or Blu-ray, then all it still lives on is that VHS tape, and that's how you can go about watching that movie. And that is probably why I went ahead and I got $35 for a $2.13 VHS tape. That I went ahead and I shipped media mail for $2.89. But the buyer did pay for that as well. Don't pass up opportunities on VHS tapes. As I said with every other item, always be sure to look it up. Now, the very last item I want to talk about today is something that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video is something that I mentioned in the title of the video, and it is correct, it is true. I sold my very first Funko Pop on eBay. Yep. You'd think I would find one by now at a yard sale or an estate sale or even at the thrift store, but I have completely missed them all, apparently. But I was fortunate enough to find an American Horror Story clown Funko Pop, new in its box. And if I've watched enough videos on YouTube about reselling and Funko Pops, it's that you have to be very thorough in your listing. Meaning that your title has to be perfect, your photos, take the maximum amount of photos that you can, and in your description, as you can see from the title of my photo, it says description. I want them to read the effects on the box, because to the collector of a Funko Pop, if the smallest thing is broken, dented, damaged, scratched, opened, they will return it. Funko Pops are highly collected at the current moment, in which people want perfect Funko Pops. So in my description, I was very thorough. I mentioned all dents, I mentioned all creases, I mentioned all slight scratches. And then when I packed it, I went ahead and I triple bubbled both sides in both directions. Then I covered it in paper and I put it in a box larger than it was supposed to be in, and I padded the box with paper all around the Funko Pop. Just in case the box was to drop, it has a cushion on each side, not only including the bubble, but also the impact of the paper, so it has a little give. Also, if the box was to be dented, it doesn't have the exact size of the Funko Pop. So this way the box of the Funko Pop won't be dented. The box that I shipped it in will take that impact. You want to make sure that you're shipping Funko Pops correctly. Yes, it'll weigh a little bit more. Yes, you will fall out of that first class category, but I'd rather have the buyer happy and not make a return and get the item that they truly wanted than an item that is damaged that they're going to return because I took less time to pack it and less materials to get it to them. So I was very pleased with my Funko Pop as far as listing it. It went very quickly. I actually got this Funko Pop for $1, surprisingly, at the thrift store, so I was very pleased. I got it for $1, and I went ahead and I sold it for $40. And the buyer paid priority mail shipping at $8.25, so it got to them a little bit faster. I was very pleased with my very first Funko sale. It got to them, it was delivered. I haven't gotten any feedback. It's been a couple days at this point, so I'm very pleased with how the sale went. Always take the time to look up items, always take the time to carefully pack them, and make sure your buyer is getting the right and correct product. Overall, I think all my sales I'm very pleased with. I did have a couple more that I haven't mentioned, but hopefully down the road I can add more items to the list on my What Sold videos. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to click that like button. If you had a great time, be sure to share this video with a friend, and also click that subscribe button. If you had any questions or comments or anything that I might have not talked about that I should have gone into detail a little bit more on, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. As always, my name is Tom, and this has been TRB Collectibles.